Good morning, Zio here, and this is take 2, 3. I don't know. I've recorded this whole thing multiple times now because I keep messing up something. Anyway, good morning. Get your coffee ready. We're talking Star Wars, the Rise of Skywalker, because that seems like a good thing to talk about this morning. I've been wanting to do a Star Wars-esque video for a while and just haven't gotten around to it. And unfortunately, this is not the video I wanted to do. This is a completely different one. So, with all that said, let's just get into it, shall we? But the reviews are coming in for Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. It has not actually released to the public yet. It was shown during a premiere screening earlier this week to the tune of like 1,000 or so people. I don't really know what the actual number is. But so far we have a total count of 223 certified reviewers on the Rotten Tomatoes site. And when it comes to Rotten Tomato, of course, you can take that usually with a grain of salt. And when it comes down to it, generally I tell people to don't look at the reviewers. Look at the audience score. If you're going to look and want to judge a movie or something by it, you want to use the audience score. That's the same on, any site like Metacritic or anything else. When it comes to video games and other stuff, look at what the customers are saying about a particular product, not the actual critics, because, there's a lot to go into on why you want to avoid the critics. But The Rise of Skywalker did release it as the last movie of the Skywalker saga. 9 movies total. And it's a movie that I personally should want to go see. I am a Star Wars fan. However, I'm not like super deep lore nerd fan when it comes to Star Wars. I guess you can say I'm a fan of the video games and the movies, but I hadn't really seen or read a lot of the books or the comic books or anything like that. I have read a few, but I'm not like the know-all of know-all when it comes to Star Wars, so I'm always learning. I love to learn new things. I mean, recently I ran across a video talking about Gray Jedi, which apparently is a thing. Which is really cool because I always wondered, isn't there like an in-between between light and dark? Why does it always have to be the light side versus the dark side? Couldn't we have like somebody who's in the middle who taps into the dark side and the light side? And I learned something new. So beyond all of that, now we're going to get into this, the Rotten Tomatoes score of The Rise of Skywalker, which honestly I thought by today would have been a certified low fresh at this point. It's sitting currently at an 80 or a 58%. This is, of course, December 19th, 2019 at 7:26 a.m. Because I didn't get a chance to do any recording yesterday. Otherwise, I would have done this yesterday. But work has decided that they're going to kill me right before the holiday season, apparently, and yeah, so it's been fun. But it's an interesting thing. This movie, of course, should be something that I personally would like to see, but after The Last Jedi, The Last Jedi, I've just lost all will to want to go and see this movie, which is sad because I love the Star Wars franchise. Yeah, I love everything about it. I currently just started recently playing Star Wars The Old Republic again, and this time I've committed to going all the way through the game instead of stopping at level 20 on a character and never finishing. But I'm having a lot of fun with that. But as you can see with the scores, we've got Star Wars The Force Awakens, right? And we've got a 93 fresh on the critics side with an audience score of 86, which honestly is what I feel where it should be. I enjoyed the Force Awakens. Of course, I do have some issues with certain things in it that I figured would get answered or maybe fixed or something like that by the second movie, but unfortunately, because somebody felt the need to subvert the audience so much, that they essentially took all the plot threads and everything else that was set up in The Force Awakens, completely burnt them to the ground, and, in my opinion, destroyed Star Wars for a large majority of the fan base, which is why it has fractured and split. And you've got one group over here who just now hates it. You got another group that doesn't hate it. You've got the access media who just laps it up and loves it, regardless of what happens. But anyway, that is what it is. But you can see here where the critics and stuff just loved The Last Jedi, which is really weird because now we're looking at Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker here. And we've got, let's see, what we got? About 400 and some. So we got about half the critics right now in this morning on the score. But they absolutely loved the other two movies. But this one, it's not. Like I was saying earlier, generally you don't trust the critics' scores. And for a large majority of movies, they seem to always be the opposite. If the critics hate it, the audience tends to love it. If the audience hates it, then the critics, for whatever reason, loved the movie for one reason or another. And it's just an interesting thing to sit here and see that The Last Jedi, or The Rise of Skywalker, I'm sorry, not The Last Jedi, the last movie in the franchise, the movie that a lot of these places have been propping up before it came out, for the past several weeks now, talking about how the fans are toxic and that they need to essentially go fall in a ditch and die or something. And Rian Johnson is a genius because of how he handled The Last Jedi and all this other stuff, and just, praising it as a masterpiece. They're not too happy with this particular movie, which is a weird and odd thing to look at. And I don't know if maybe they're just upset at the fact that JJ has come back in, and from what I'm hearing, practically tried his best to undo the damage that Rian Johnson did make on The Last Jedi, while simultaneously trying to put together two separate movies into one movie to try and fix and push the narrative along. And, it's just this weird thing to really get into, to go and just, wow. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at some of these real quick, because this is all I've got to talk about, because I hadn't seen it yet. Of course, I probably won't anytime soon, mainly because I'll be working. But when it does come out on like Disney Plus or Netflix or wherever the heck it decides to go to, Redbox, I'll definitely be watching the movie eventually, just because it is the last episode or the last movie in, a 9-movie saga at this point. But we'll just go ahead and take a look at some of these. And you've got the top critics here. My brain no worky so early in the morning. But storytelling is solid, and at times when the CGI in some film is downright embarrassing, the special effects are superb, which is nice. It's too bad that Star Wars Saga has saved the worst for last. In terms of pure narrative, it's satisfying. What is very rarely is inspired. Okay. Anyway, there was a thing I had somewhere, and now I have lost it. Here we go. Right now, we've got 46 top critics, of course. 129 of these people have certified this as fresh. 94 are rotten. So that's a thing. And I don't really know how the site tends to work. I'm not sure what these coming soon mean. So I don't know if that's just the certified freshes that they've held back to make it seem like it's worse off or something. I don't know. I don't know why they would even do that. But a hurried and hectic affair. Okay, this episode isn't perfect. You nitpick it forever with your friends, but that's the point. Star Wars isn't a movie. It's family. We're that close to it. And the infighting about what it does right and wrong is as crucial as love. But yeah, we've got several freshes, several not freshes. The galaxy far, far away is feeling tediously familiar already. Not really sure what that's about. You'd have to read the full review. But The Rise of Skywalker is pure fan service for better or worse, and it's mostly for better. 3.5 out of 4. The problem with The Rise of Skywalker isn't any single omission or misstep. It isn't the succession of cheap gotcha twists that briefly threaten to alter how we look at these characters, only to abruptly pull us back to rose-tinted reality. All Rise of Skywalker does is wrap up everything a second time, answering the same questions and revisiting the same themes. Feels like a massive retractment. Privately, a rebellion seems to have been fought and lost, and only the most loyal fans will be happy about it. But what I also find, of course, interesting, like I was saying earlier, is some of the critics and, sites out there really defend, like, The Last Jedi and the Star Wars movies lately, and calling fans toxic and other stuff like that, are actually out giving us titles like this. Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker is what happens when a franchise gives up. The movie is a colossal failure of imagination. And that's just scathing, especially coming from someplace like Vox, who generally would eat this kind of stuff up. So they must have really messed up the movie in some way, shape, or fashion to really tick off Vox. Or other outlets, to be totally honest, to be giving them things like that. No spoilers, but strong opinions do proceed at your own risk. But yeah, this will be linked down if you want to go through it and read it. But yeah, apparently the word is there's a lot of fan service. A lot of the critics aren't too happy about that. It tries to destroy whatever Ryan gave us, while simultaneously trying to push the narrative forward with a completely other story. Probably should have took a couple of movies to honestly, get it properly across, but they only have the one to work with, so it is what it is. You got Forbes over here, review. Rise of Skywalker is the worst Star Wars movie ever. The Rise of Skywalker is a bad movie and a miserable finale that serves no purpose other than to reassure adult fans of the original Star Wars that they are still the chosen ones of the pop culture galaxy. Sounds like to me that somebody's a little upset over the whole nostalgia thing, I guess. Spoiler warnings. I do not mention specific details about the first few scenes, but otherwise, there are no spoilers save for read between the line notes about the film. Well, I'm not going to get into that if there's going to be any form of spoiler whatsoever. But, yeah, this is going to be an interesting thing to see. As of right now, we are sitting at a 58% with critics. Hopefully the audience score will start trickling in sometime throughout the day and throughout tomorrow, and over this weekend we will get a more accurate representation of what this movie actually is, if it's good or bad, or if it's so-so or okay. I just really wish I could get excited for it, to be totally honest. Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. Let me know what you think about all this down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.